background checks and other requirements. This is not an issue for applying to get into the program. But once you're into the program and we're interviewing you for field, we do assess your ability to get an internship. And we do have many internship sites that require you to go through a variety of screenings, whether that be health or criminal background screenings. And we have an orientation for those who do get accepted into our program, and we explain all of that before it takes place. But it's just good for you to know that we can't guarantee everyone a placement if for some reason you have a situation that would prohibit us to work with one of our partners. Travel is generally up to an hour each way from your home, and that's also something to consider because it does mean for some long days for the field days. But we it's a very wonderful thing to be in Los Angeles County and the surrounding counties because there's a lot of social work going on. So we do have a lot of students traveling, but we do have a lot of opportunity for field placements. So just a little recap. Once someone is accepted into the program and you've agreed to be in our program, you will do an online field application, and that's whether you're in an online program or not, but it's just something that you will do from the comfort of your computer. And you will have an interview with the field department. Again, this is all after you'd be accepted into the program, into the general program. You would then go on interviews at placement sites because in Los Angeles County and beyond, it's a very competitive process. Internship sites are, so they won't just take anybody. We have to prep you to go on an interview to secure a placement. And we've done that with a lot of students. We have a lot of alumni, and it's a wonderful thing that we're very proud of, but agencies are very fond of CSUN MSW students. So we have great relationships with our agencies. But nonetheless, it is reflective of the marketplace of having to get the internship. And then after, later on in that process, as I mentioned briefly already, there are stipend programs that you would hear about in a timely fashion, so we'll give you plenty of opportunity to apply for them and to find out about what's available. One rule of thumb is that you can't count on stipend dollars to pay the tuition in our program because you won't know if you get that stipend until after you've committed to the program. So there is an aspect of planning that you might want to be aware of and not to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. All right, so first year field practicum. For most of our programs, with the exception of Department of Public Social Services, it's a 16-hour-a-week schedule. Okay, so that's 16 hours a week. For the full-time 2-year program, that means 2 workday hours. Could be 2 days next to each other, or a Monday and a Wednesday. It could be a number of ways to configure that, but it's a 16-hour commitment because the 2-year program we often call it the full-time program. That's the commitment. The strategy is we pick for you. So you may come with a lot of great experience in a particular area and want to be in that area, but remember Dr. Ashley already explained, we don't have concentrations in our program. Our goal is to diversify your skill set. You may come with years of experience in this area. We want to put you in something completely different so that you will get better at more areas, but also get to try them out. That's a part of our responsibility of putting qualified and skilled social workers into the community, particularly in urban communities. Benefits. You know, we are about learning, what your learning capacity is, what your learning strategy is, and that is part of the reason why we pick the placement for you. Second year of field practicum. For the 2-year stateside, it bumps up to 24 hours a week. That's what we call 2-year program or a full-time program. For the other programs, 16 hours a week except for DPSS. But don't get swayed so much by the 16 versus 24 because whenever you see 16, it means it's a longer crunch time period of getting all those hours in. So it's 24 or 16 depending on the cohort you're in. The strategy for that second year placement is that we will work with you to figure out what your learning strategy is. It could be that you have every intent to go into gerontology, but we work with you because you realize you never really worked with youth. And you want to get more experience in a time frame where it looks great on your resume as opposed to not looking great on your resume. Most jobs, you go work for a short amount of time and an prospective employer says, well, why did they quit? Did they get fired? What happened here? But an internship, it's a plus. Wow, you had an internship for 9 months, 12 months, what have you. This is part of the learning strategy we talked to you about as far as what will enhance you. You know, not what is your comfort zone, but what's going to make you a better social worker. And of course, benefits as beyond being a better generalist social worker in the marketplace is also, we don't know where jobs are necessarily going to be. You know, we look at baby boomers aging in our country, and we know, for example, that there could be gerontology jobs. What kind of gerontology jobs? There could be other areas, too, that end up hiring social workers as people learn that how versatile an MSW can be. But we want to prepare you for all those kinds of things. So that's why we don't talk about concentrations as much as we talk about learning strategy. What kind of learner are you? And what can you get out of the program and get your money and time worth out of it? All right, so I talked a little bit about travel already. Background checks and other requirements, just to rest on that one more time, is that prior to being placed, it's possible that you would be required to have drug tests, criminal record screening, and that includes expunged records as well as things that aren't expunged, and just general health screenings. Okay, these aren't, it's different than getting a job as an employer would look at prospective employees. These are internships, volunteers who are willing to take in our students. And they might have their own requirements of volunteers or interns at their agencies. So we have to abide by what they're looking for. So that's just something to know about. If you're concerned about background issues and how that might not be successful, you might not be able to be successful in this process, then certainly you can ask for a private consult. We'll be happy to talk to you about that. Okay, and with that, I'll be available afterwards for questions.
Hi all, again, I'm Tiffany, and if you've called or emailed, you've probably spoken with me. Many of you sound familiar. The other people you might run into if you call or stop by the office, again, would be Naomi Chavez and then Heather Lang, just so that you know the friendly faces here that you'll run across. So I'm going to go over the application process. I hear all the time that it's pretty grueling, it can be difficult. It's not. There are just a lot of little things that you need to pay attention to so you can do it successfully. If you have any questions, please email me. If you have that brochure, my email and contact information is on the back of it. Circle it now. I really want to answer any questions so that you can get it done appropriately and on time. So, the number one thing to remember is that not only are you applying to the university to be a graduate student, you are also applying to the department to be an MSW student. So you have two different admissions processes that are going on at the same time. So what we require is different often than what admissions of records requires. And then these are all the different components of the application, so I'll go over that in a little minute. And then the priority review and regular review, I'll go over those as well. And they're also in the brochure. So how to apply. Again, remember, you're applying for the university and the department. The department application, if you open your brochure, the link is in there. You can go to csun.edu/MSW, click on admissions, and all of the information will be in section 1. All of the forms and documents that you need will be in section 2. The university application via CSU Mentor is actually at this link. Again, it's in the brochure. So, and please, 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 if you look at the admissions page, please print everything out. There's a checklist, read everything, and then come to me if you have questions. It is a lot to get through. So, recommendation packets. 3 are required. We prefer that you do 2 academics, since we are an academic program, and 1 professional. If you have been out of school more than 5 years and you need to do 3 professional, that's okay. However, if you just got out of school, we really, really want to see how you did. They need to be signed and sealed. Again, the instructions are on the website. And it needs to include not only the recommendation form that you sign, the evaluation that the person recommending you signs, and then a recommendation letter, preferably on letterhead. So you need to choose authors that speak to your academic and or professional strengths and abilities. Please, 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 no relatives. We can't, even if you work for your uncle or so-and-so, we can't really accept that. It makes it really hard for us to judge. And no friends. So if we're really looking for academics, so advisors, whoever did your capstone, people that taught a couple of classes that you were in, that kind of thing, or where you volunteered, where you did an internship maybe in your undergrad, that kind of stuff. Transcripts. So there are 2 places where you're going to be sending transcripts. The university requires transcripts from every college, community college, institution, study abroad, wherever you've been, they need transcripts. If you're a CSUN student, they probably already have those on file, but you're going to want to double check. You should call admissions and records, make sure their phone number is on that little info sheet. Department. We require transcripts for the last 60 semester or 90 quarter units of your undergraduate degree. We also require transcripts from any postgrad work. So if you went and got an MBA, or you tried to get an MSW, maybe you didn't finish the program for whatever reason, we want to know about it and see how you did, okay? And they need to be official. The other thing to keep in mind is that when you send things in, the checklist on the admissions webpage, it has an address for where you're going to send things to the admissions and records office and where you're going to send things to the department. You want to make sure that if nothing else goes right, you have the zip code down with that last four, because that's how they know where to send it here on campus. All right, personal statement. So this is how we get to know about you. This is your opportunity to tell us who you are, why you're interested in our program, what you're bringing to the table, and where you're hoping to go. It's 5 to 7 pages, double-spaced, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. Please don't go more than 7 pages. I can't guarantee that the admissions committee will read it, so you need to stick to that. And then you want to make sure that you answer all of the questions in Q&A format. That means you type out the question, and then you write your answer below it. That's just so that the people who are reading your statement, they know which question you're answering there, because we have points for each one, that kind of thing, so we can track it. So some things to keep in mind. Have someone read it. Does it make sense? Does it reflect your voice? Does it reflect you? Let's see. Highlight strengths and experiences, yeah. Another thing, if you need more information about the social work field, you can, I think this site might actually not be working, it's basocialworker.org. I put another one at the bottom of the info sheet, or you can go to the National Association of Social Workers, get the Code of Ethics, get that kind of stuff, figure out what it really means to be a social worker so you can write a more targeted personal statement. It really helps if you know why you're here and what we do. All right, resume. So we want you to include any paid or volunteer experience that you have in the field of human services. Other professional or volunteer experience is great, but we really want you to tell us what applies to human services and what is other professional experience. We also want to know how many hours in total you spent doing that. So we want start dates, end dates, and hours per week. Because otherwise it can be really hard. Was it a 1-week internship that you did over spring break? Or have you been volunteering every Saturday for 4 years? So it kind of helps us gauge your level of activity. The resume should be 1 to 2 pages, double-spaced, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. And again, and any trainings. If you've gone through helpline trainings, if you've done things, we really want to know about that. It really helps. It's a benefit. So make sure you put it on there if you haven't.